Funding for the investment provided by Penn State's Smeal College of Business. Learn more at smeal.psu.edu. The Engineering Entrepreneurship Program, part of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation minor, developing the entrepreneurial mindset to benefit students throughout their career, whether starting a company or working within an existing organization. Ben Franklin Technology Partners. Ulicny Financial Communications and Strategy, the Center County Growth and Adventure Partnership, a collaborative initiative of the CBICC and the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau.
Investment breeds innovation, and an innovative idea can change the world. Penn State, through IncU, will award a total of $30,000 to winning student-owned companies. Teams from Penn State will compete to impress a panel of judges with their unique ideas. Each team will have a chance to pitch the panel and see if they can stand up to the judges' scrutiny. The team or teams with the strongest ideas and best pitches will leave with the seed money necessary to jumpstart their companies. The competition will be intense, and the money will be given to only the most innovative ideas. The judges are waiting. The teams are ready. This is The Investment. Our judges come from all corners of the business and entrepreneurial world. Jordan Redner is Executive Director and COO of Decoded Advertising. Pat Loftus is an investment committee member with New World Angels. JT Marino is co-founder of Tuft & Needle. Annie Hughes is the director of the Harrisburg Launchbox. Those are our judges. Now it's time for our teams to impress them. Our first team is Car to Camp.
At Car to Camp, we've designed, manufacture, and sell an SUV sleeping platform for car camping. Our product ships to the customer's door and can be assembled and installed with no additional tools required.
With more funding, we would be able to improve our manufacturing process. Newer tools would allow us to decrease manufacturing time and have more consistent reliability and quality in our product.
Hi, I'm Nathan Bonslaver, a student at Penn State Berks and co-founder of Car to Camp. This is the car that I spent 2 months camping in while traveling across the country coast to coast. I saw 22 states, 15 national parks. I climbed mountains, backpacked deserts, and camped for free every single night on public lands. Now, when spending extended periods of time camping in your vehicle, 2 things become very important. One is comfort, and the other is storage space. That's why for years now, car campers have been custom building DIY sleeping platforms for their vehicles. These sleeping platforms are raised above the floor of the vehicle to open up storage space underneath, and they provide a flat space on top for 2 individuals to sleep. The problem is, these DIY projects require advanced woodworking knowledge and expensive tools that most people don't have. That's where we come in. At Car to Camp, we've designed a universally fitting sleeping platform that ships to the customer's door and can be assembled and installed with no tools required. Our design features an adjustable length to accommodate vehicles of different depths, adjustable supports, and hinged wings on the side for easy access to storage space underneath. Over the past year and a half, we've been able to design, build, and test 6 different stages of prototypes. We sent these prototypes out to our customers, gathered feedback, and finalized the design on the best sleeping platform for everyone. Over the last 4 months, we put a big focus on lean manufacturing and process improvement, and we're able to decrease our manufacturing time per unit by 70%. Over the past 5 weeks, we sent out our first 4 orders and have shipped sleeping platforms across the country. With a $30,000 investment, we'd be able to prepare for our first full summer of fulfilling customer orders. With $10,000, we'd be able to move our manufacturing out of my dad's garage space and into our own rented manufacturing space. With $10,000, we'd be able to purchase improved tools that would decrease our manufacturing time further and improve our quality control. And with $10,000, we'd be able to build a more robust website that would better inform our customers when they're deciding to make a purchase. Thank you very much.
Today, for the next few minutes, what we want to talk to you about are the challenges of scaling the company. And there are going to be issues like supply chain and working capital. So talk to us a little bit about some of your sales and marketing strategy.
Yeah, so we spent the last year and a half, like I said, focusing on design, talking to our customers, learning about what they needed. And now we're at the end of that stage. We have our product, and this summer we're rolling out into marketing and sales, like you mentioned. We just started selling about a month ago. We haven't done any paid advertising yet, so all the sales we've done so far are organic, but we plan to do some paid advertising across social media. We have different strategies to attack different verticals with that. We have influencer marketing planned, and we're doing a bunch of trade shows and outdoor expos coming up this year. So we're very excited to get the word out about our new exciting product now that it's ready.
Are there influencers that you can tap into that will help to hype the product?
Yeah, absolutely. We've identified a few influencers at different ranges of the lower end that we could tap into first, some of the mid-range and some higher end influencers that we can sponsor their trips, send them test products to get the word out to their communities, because they share tips and tricks on car camping around the country, just like what we're promoting. So we do think that's going to be one of our best avenues for spreading the word.
So what kind of volumes do you see with this? Because, scaling is a big part of the challenge for a company, a startup company like yourselves.
Yeah, so we're at the very beginning. We designed this product so that we could start small. We could start out of my dad's garage, and that's what we're doing right now. But because we focused on designing one product to address most of the market, we can keep inventory simple, scaling can be linear. Once we get to more than 2 sales per week, we'd like to move in our own manufacturing space, hire on internally to hand over manufacturing labor, and grow as demand grows and as we get the word out there.
You mentioned in your paper part of an award you would put towards a new website. What is it on the website that you feel you need to improve?
So right now our website is something that I built myself. I did my best with it, but I get a lot of customer messages through our contact form asking questions that could have been answered if we had a better website. So if we had drop-down menus with make, model, and year to check vehicle compatibility, better visualizations on how our product fits in your car, we'd be able to answer these questions up front rather than me answering a bunch of emails to customers.
The question I have is kind of related back to the design. So I know you have a provisional patent, but there are other platforms like this on the market. They may not have your exact design, but there's competition. So what is your unique selling proposition here? How are you going to compete with all these other options that are already in market?
Yeah, so those other options are made by very small companies like ourselves, and we're all growing right now. Our design is set apart by a bunch of different features like uninterrupted storage space. Ours is the only to offer that. Adjustable length. Ours is the only to offer that. No tools required assembly is a huge design criteria that we set out to achieve. We're the first to achieve that. Ours is the lightest weight on the market. So from a team of 3 mechanical engineers, we made sure that we hit all those bullets to differentiate ourselves from anyone who's come before us and will come after us.
So in looking how you are planning to spend the money, if you were to win the money, it looks like the majority of it would be used for manufacturing space and tooling. And I'm curious as to why you're spending so much time and energy in manufacturing. So what is the primary reason you're doing the manufacturing yourself as opposed to working with an outside manufacturer so you could really focus on product design, marketing, and growth?
So we're not against working with an outside manufacturer, and that's something that we plan to explore this summer when we participate in the Summer Founder Program. So we've always kept that in the back of our minds, but right now we're trying to grow internally to prove to everyone and to ourselves that there's a big enough market for this before we invest the large amount of capital into going outside for manufacturing, but it's not off the table.
Nathan, thank you very much for answering our questions and for the excitement that you bring to this new idea.
Thank you for having me.
We look forward to seeing you in the future.
Our second team is Table Rock Markets.
My name's Jake Grimm, and I'm the founder of Table Rock Markets, an online marketplace that allows farmers to sell to local consumers. By thinning out the food supply chain and reducing the distance from farm to table, we're helping farmers be more profitable and more environmentally sustainable. The InkU competition is an opportunity for us to fund our technological advancements and to expand our operation. We're looking forward to this year's competition.
Hi, I'm Jake Grimm.
And I'm Aiden Roush.
And we're the founders of Table Rock Markets.
Of every dollar Americans spend on food, farmers only receive 18 cents, while the rest is eaten up by the supply chain. Selling directly to consumers lets farms secure at least 90 cents of every dollar. However, 9 out of 10 farms don't utilize direct sales channels. What's even worse is that farmers underutilize websites, with barely 6% offering online sales. This is not sustainable, and less so when online grocery retail is expected to grow to $500 billion by 2030.
Our first pilot provided farms a shared marketplace to offer their products for pre-order. Based on conversations with over 500 farmers across 7 agriculture conferences, we are pivoting our service to provide farms individual sites equipped with our integrated e-commerce. Farmers want their own spot on the internet where they can share their story and sell to consumers. This model enables us to charge a higher take rate as well as a monthly service fee for the sites themselves. We have also found that farmers would like help with social media marketing, which provides us the opportunity to offer digital advertising solutions.
Last year, we received $10,000 from the InkU Challenge, which we used to launch the first iteration of our online marketplace for farmers to sell directly to consumers. During this pilot, we have processed over $350,000 in online sales, charging a 2% take rate, resulting in over 6,900 orders from 980 customers, of which 68% reordered using our platform. In the past few months, we have onboarded over 20 more farms to begin using Table Rock Markets.
Our founding team is made up of Aiden and me, as well as our CTO, Hunter Dubs. We are stacked with complementary skill sets, including technical backgrounds and firsthand experience in agriculture, which provides us a unique insight to the needs of farmers.
In order to raise a pre-seed round by Q4 of this year, following completion of an accelerator program, we need to bring on Hunter full-time. $15,000 will enable us to pay him so he can build our proprietary integrations for e-commerce, digital advertising, and logistics solutions. An additional $15,000 would allow us to bring on Jake full-time to focus on customer acquisition and onboarding more farms. This will also cover myself part-time to focus on our ongoing fundraising strategy while I finish my degree this fall.
With your help, we will be able to achieve our mission, reshaping the future of agriculture.
The first question I had really is about the infrastructure required to run this enterprise. It sounds like it's getting more complex as you iterate. I think I saw or heard somewhere that you need to build out some proprietary integrations. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that, what those are, and what resources you need and who you need to make that happen?
Sure. So currently it's being done by myself and our CTO, Hunter Dubs, that we mentioned in the video. And what that looks like is that currently we have this centralized marketplace with this commerce that we developed. And we want to do is transition that into the integration we mentioned. So it would be individual farm sites that have that integration. So the main infrastructure milestone or challenge there is to kind of transition from that central marketplace to those individual integrations.
And do you need to actually customize the infrastructure? You mentioned about branching out into fulfillment services too. Mm-hmm. For people. I mean, do you actually need to build some elements of this e-com infrastructure?
Yeah, so it'd be proprietary to us, but it would not be custom for each client. So we'd have one integration we could use for all of our clients. And then for things like fulfillment, what we'd be looking to do is partner with existing fulfillment companies. So like DoorDash offers delivery services through DoorDash Drive. So you build an integration with them, and then you're enabling last mile for your farms.
What specifically are you doing to differentiate yourself from an e-commerce platform like Shopify? And why would a farm not just use a off-the-shelf platform that's already out there, given that there are a lot of like turnkey plugins like for inventory management?
Well, that's actually one of the things we ran into, right? So our initial farm that we started that Jake started working with was using Wix. But it was taking too much time week to week to update their inventory. And farms actually spend a lot of time working, right? It's more of a lifestyle than a job. So our platform's kind of geared towards exactly what farms want, exactly what farms care about. Not so much like those other platforms. It kind of gets a little confusing for them when they jump into it. We want to reduce that barrier to entry as much as possible. So it's as simple and it's only the things they care about.
Could you talk to the rationale behind your pivot and what evidence that you have in the marketplace that suggests that pivot is profitable and scalable?
Yeah, so our pivot is 100% driven by our customers we've been working with. So over the winter months, we've attended 7 different agriculture-related conferences, giving us the ability to meet with hundreds of farmers across the United States. And they like the idea of a shared marketplace, but they love the idea of having their own online store to promote their brand, their story. Family-run farms are generational. They're proud of their story and they want to be able to promote that. And so by turning from a marketplace to individual sites, it allows farmers to stay true to their story and to share that story with their customers. And so we're trying to develop a service to do that better.
Could you specifically speak to the brand element of that? I understand the tech.
Yeah, so our brand has been highly supported by the agricultural industry. We've been in 2 or 3 major media outlets, such as Lancaster Farming, the Ag Choice Farm Credit, as well as Ohio Farm and Dairy, and trying to encourage farmers to utilize these services. These were not articles that we sponsored. They came to us to promote it. It's pretty cool to be at a conference and an Amish gentleman to come up to you and say, hey, I've read about you already, or, farm from all the way over in Pittsburgh and we're in the middle of the state. So the brand is getting out there and becoming well supported by the Pennsylvania agriculture industry.
So you're one of the few contestants and finalists that was here last year. I'm curious to know just really quickly, what have you learned in the last year to convince us that you want to take this, that you can take this to the next level?
Yeah, so like I was sharing with going to the conferences, that's been a great opportunity for us to understand what these farms are looking for. Fortunately, I'm graduating in 3 weeks here, so that'll give me the opportunity to fully commit to what we're looking to do. And so working with these farms and understanding their frustrations with other services and competitors has given us the advantage to understand how to suit their needs and how to scale that and to provide. I feel very strongly that we have the capacity to take this business and to expand it across not only Pennsylvania, but across the East Coast and eventually across the country.
Thanks so much for participating and good luck with your program in the future.
It's a pleasure seeing you again. Thank you for your guys' support.
Thank you.
Our third team is Ballet SCOUT.
We are the Ballet SCOUT, and our mission is to ensure that all dancers have the opportunity to pursue their passion, no matter what age, level, or physical ability. We entered into the INC-U competition in order to raise the funding necessary to take our company from a startup to stardom and capture this whole market. The Ballet SCOUT is entering into a nearly unclaimed market. Our technology is already much better than any other competitors out there.
My name is Robert, and I'm a professional dancer with the Nevada Ballet Theater.
And my name is Eugene Rue. I'm one of the developers here at the Ballet SCOUT and a cybersecurity major at Penn State University Park.
I came up the ranks as a dancer and attended countless auditions before making it as a professional. And I can tell you that dance is incredibly hard. Do you remember how much work you put into applying for colleges or for your first job? Dancers have to do that multiple times per year, every single year. That's why at the Ballet SCOUT, we have developed a database for dancers to find information on training programs, auditions, and jobs. We have made it our mission to ensure that all dancers are able to pursue their passion, no matter their age, level, or physical ability.
Dancers should be spending more time dancing than scouring the web, because ballet is hard enough already. It's a $4.1 billion market, yet only 10% of students are able to take the next step and succeed professionally. Our database has custom-built, detailed search filters like tuition, location, and scholarship availability that help dancers perfectly plan their next step that's suited to their needs. So far, we've helped 1,200 users avoid hours of frustration and find more opportunities. We want to help companies out too. We function as a double-facing model, providing advertising and recruitment opportunities to companies looking to fill spots in programs. We've partnered with some of the largest and smallest companies located throughout the country who are looking to fill more spots.
One of the biggest advantages is our team and our time. We are made up of current professionals who are ingrained within the dance industry. This has allowed us to make business connections, sell ad spots, and pull our customers. We also only have one competitor, and that is BalletAuditions.org. Our technology is more advanced. We have better search filters, better UI, more data on our site, better social media presence, and better business prowess. Our other advantage over them is that we have these incredible opportunities to raise funding to develop our product. We want to use the InkU prize money and take $10,000 to launch an extensive marketing campaign and $20,000 to develop our technology. We want to completely capture the dance market and then expand into other art forms. Imagine the next Indeed for the arts. Thank you.
So tell us a bit about your experience with attracting and retaining the dance company income, and also the turnover that you've experienced so far on your paid subscribers.
Yeah, so when we launched our MVP, we gave it to a focus group of about 60 dancers and had them use the product. We had teachers and professionals and students testing it. When we launched, then after that MVP, we developed that technology to fit their needs. And then when we launched that, we got the 15 companies on board and 1,200 users, 180 premium users. Now, those users have bought subscriptions and they are coming back not just to audition for the season, but actually to find summer employment and to find stuff for next year as they transition to their next steps. The companies, they buy year-round listings, and then they come back for the next year to update their auditions and to update their other programs as it changes yearly.
So talk to us a little bit about the challenges and barriers that you see to the brand positioning, starting first as Ballet SCOUT, and the tech, and what you need to accomplish in order to scale this business, both for Ballet SCOUT and beyond.
So our most immediate feature is to start creating some more internal tooling for both companies. Right now, focusing more specifically on ballet. So instead of just being a job listing site, but also being a platform where in the ballet context, where students and their teachers can interact, share information, share in the ballet context, it would be audition programs, audition plans, various programs, and things like that.
So to piggyback off of that, we are creating a tool right now to integrate students and teachers. That will allow us to sell these bulk subscriptions and get entire schools on board. So instead of selling to a school, for right now we charge them $500 to list for a year, we will be able to make $1,500 per school by getting not just the school listing, but the academy students on board. And so if we get only 50 of the top companies, it's kind of like a domino effect, just like big tech. All the other companies would follow. Then we only need 600 companies on board, plus our individual users and ad space to start generating revenue over $1 million. We can use that revenue to easily make our technology pivot to other art forms and be able to pull and just completely expand and scale very quickly after we get this ballet market.
I had a similar question to what you just mentioned, Robert, about kind of how this can scale and grow. Understanding that sometimes dancers' careers are not long necessarily, and then they might be looking for other opportunities. Have you thought about how you might integrate your product into a longer life cycle in a dancer's career and beyond? Or can you comment on what you just said? What other types of art forms do you think you would be able to jump to once you get the foothold with the ballet market? Yeah, so a ballet career professionally is definitely a lot shorter, but the advantage that we have over Indeed and other places is it starts a lot earlier. Dancers need to find training from like 3 years old, all the way through 40 years old. And furthermore, after 40 years old, we actually offer career transition services on our site to help people move away from ballet. And we think that with other art forms, that will be a big market too, is actually the kids starting in music, starting in acting, and then we can help path them and help be their scout. That's kind of the brand we want to be, like the e-scout for all passions and goals, to go from students to professional to teacher.
When you talked about the services and the listings you have, you mentioned training, audition, and jobs. So I'm curious, with that being three similar but different issues that you're helping with, I'm curious, what do you see as your current split or the usage in your listings between those three buckets?
So the majority of our users are the students. I think we have 67% of our users are about 46% of our users are students. And then from there, we have about 15% teachers, 15% professionals, and then about actually 20% parents. So the biggest breakdown is students, and then we have the parents of those students, and then professionals, and then teachers.
Robert, Eugene, very interesting stuff. Thanks so much for participating, and we look forward to the future.
All right, thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Our fourth team is Ithaca.
Ithaca is a business-to-business software as a service company. We're developing a landscape customer relationship management software program that will help developing landscape companies save time, scale, and ensure that they are providing maximum value to their customers.
Like many startups, we have ambitious plans for the future. Our vision is to provide landscapers with easy-to-use business tools that automate administrative tasks like invoicing and estimation so that they can focus on what it is that they do best, landscaping.
Hi, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Zion. While we were growing up, Joseph and I worked for a local landscaping company. We started out pulling weeds and eventually made our way up to running our own crews and creating estimates for customers. However, as we took on more responsibility, we also became more frustrated with the many problems facing landscapers today. Even experienced estimators sometimes lost money on projects, and tasks as simple as sending out customer invoices were a weekly struggle. We even once heard from another landscape business owner that she spent 2 days sending over 800 customer invoices just because our software didn't have the capability to send them in batches. Our boss, having experienced many similar issues, sent us on a mission to find new software to help. What we found from that search was that current offerings were either duct taped together by landscapers themselves and far too difficult to use, or created by white-collar workers who had little to no understanding of our industry's day-to-day operations. They all had dramatically similar workflows and failed to improve upon the customer experience, leaving users feeling overwhelmed and annoyed. As we progressed as students and learned more about software and automation, we saw the potential for a solution that leveraged both our understanding of technology and landscaping operations. So we set out to create a platform that was well designed, both in the perspective of a landscaper and a software developer.
To improve on these processes, we're creating a simple and easy-to-use user interface that streamlines workflows and auto-populates invoices, as well as an estimation feature that uses machine learning algorithms and historical data to ensure that estimates retain their profitability, all by increasing the automation and usability of these tasks. By talking with over 30 landscape business owners, we were able to determine that solving the clunky invoice process could save companies approximately 45 minutes a day. By the estimate of one landscape business owner, this could save them $300 a week and over $15,000 annually. When you consider that 94% of landscape companies are owned and operated by under 20 employees, that $15,000 could have helped a business owner keep an employee around for an extra 6 months, which is a responsibility we know all business owners can relate to. To make all this happen, we're asking for $30,000. $25,000 will go to the development of an MVP built out with our 2 key invoicing and estimation features. And the remaining $5,000 will go to our influencer marketing strategy. We're bringing landscapers into the 21st century by leveraging new technology that allows estimators, designers, and foremen focus on what it is that they do best. Thank you.
I really like that you're pulling from past experience you had in landscaping and that you've been interviewing all these different landscapers to better understand the problem. And I'm curious, I do know that building software can be very expensive and you want to use the majority of this money, if you were to win it, primarily to build an MVP. I'm curious, how could you potentially validate that one of these landscapers would be willing to pay for this software before you actually spend money and all the time to build it out?
So even in the last week, we entered into a partnership with one of the largest landscaping companies in upstate New York to pilot the software within their crews. And so they have told us, they see the $15,000 saved, they see the $300 a week. And so they actually agree on a price point of $200 for that enterprise. And that's within their 6 different crews. And so our software is actually going to be piloted soon over the summer with them, and we're really excited to dive into that process.
I'm also curious, you had mentioned that your product there are some competitors out there, there are already some tools. You had mentioned simplicity, but I'm curious more specifically, what do you see as your key differentiation from the tools that are out there? And what would you do to defend from your competition, learning from what you figure out?
So the way that we think about the markets, like the offerings that are currently on the market, is there's basically two buckets. There's those that are created by landscapers and those that are created by larger technology companies. And so when we're thinking about the software created by landscapers, we found that they have a lot of kind of technical drawbacks. So you'll see features missing, sort of like the bundle estimates. And on top of that, they're not really using any kind of newer technologies. If you look at their user interfaces and compare them, they're almost identical. It looks kind of like an Excel sheet or some old SAP software, if you're familiar with that. And then when we think about the more cutting edge, I guess you could say, companies that are coming out with software, I would say the biggest one is probably QuickBooks, and it's quite generalized. And so there are steps you can take to make it customized exactly to fit with your business. But these are not the kinds of things that landscapers are looking to do at the end of a long day. And so I think what really differentiates us is how we connect the estimation and invoicing process to kind of the overall landscaping workflow. And so instead of having to go in and create a customized workflow for yourself in QuickBooks, it's automatically going to take the information that you populated for that estimate, create it into an invoice, so that when you get home at the end of the day after mulching or plowing, whatever it may be, for 12 hours straight, you can go have dinner with your family as opposed to spending another 45 minutes making that invoice from the work you've already done.
Great. I've got a follow-on question related to the differentiators. In your video, you called this a landscape tech CRM business model. And so could you speak to the elements of that more specifically, and from a differentiation perspective, and then what real barriers to entry for someone who is larger than you and better capitalized than you to eat your lunch?
Invoicing and estimation are essentially two quick wins that we feel like we can make. So we're starting with those features, and like I said, we're building them specifically for landscapers. And then we plan to build out kind of a whole platform from there. So we have plans for specific tools for landscape design, specific tools for routing, and specific tools for procurement. And again, all through the lens specifically of a landscaper. And so basically our differentiation strategy is having a really, really tight focus on our landscaping target demographic, one that we feel we know quite well coming from that same background. And so as we continue to build up more of these tools, both on the landscaping side and on the consumer side, because for instance, with our design tool, that's something that we think we can also sell to end users and consumers and use that for lead generation for our enterprise customers. And so as we continue to build out more of these specific tools, integrating them with each other and integrating them with other outside services. So for instance, with procurement, Lowe's, Home Depot, so you can order your equipment through there. Deals with John Deere, so you can get your equipment through there. All these kind of partnerships that we really want to focus on as we continue in parallel with dev management. We feel like we can construct some of those barriers for, like you said, a competitor who might be larger and more well capitalized.
Joseph, Zion, thanks so much. Good luck in the future.
Thank you.
Our fifth team is Marosa's Old World Cuisine.
My name is Marcella Marino, and I am the founder of Marosa's Old World Cuisine. My company is an Italian specialty food brand. All my sauces are made with imported Italian tomatoes and quality ingredients. I am in about 60 stores across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Florida, California, and Tennessee. Funding would allow me to expand my brand by creating marketing materials such as merchandise and branching out into more products. Eventually, I would like to have pastas and olive oils to add to my brand. Hi, my name is Marcella Marino, and I'm a senior at Penn State majoring in corporate innovation and entrepreneurship. I am also the CEO and founder of Marosa's Old World Cuisine. I decided to combine my first and middle name, Marcella Rose, to create Marosa's. I currently have a marinara sauce, vodka sauce, and tomato basil sauce, all made with imported Italian tomatoes. I knew from a young age that I always wanted to own my own business, so COVID was the perfect time. In June of 2020, after all my classes had been online for a couple of months, I decided to start testing recipes in my kitchen at home. Then in December of 2020, I contacted a manufacturer to solidify the recipes and have them jarred. In February of 2021, I created an LLC and started taking pre-orders to stores. In May of 2021, I filed for a PA and federal trademark and was in 35 stores. In June of 2021, I started doing samplings at stores and farmers markets. Then in November of 2021, I was in 52 stores with 3 sauces. And now, as of March 2022, I am in 63 stores nationally. Eventually, I would like to expand my rosas into more pastas, olive oils, olives, pestos, and much more. All my sauces, like I said, are made with imported Italian tomatoes, which give them a sweeter taste. I have heard from numerous customers that their children are picky eaters, but really enjoy my sauces because there's a sweeter taste to them. I also added a longer cook time to them to make them less acidic, and customers are really liking this because they're not getting heartburn after eating my sauces. I am now in 63 stores across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Tennessee, Florida, and California. Last year, I was able to do $55,000 in sales through my distributor, farmers markets, and online sales. I would use the $30,000 to go to the fancy food show this summer, which to get a booth alone is about $4,000. And then I am budgeting about $2,000 for traveling and promotional materials. I would also like to expand my roses into more regional stores such as Wegmans, Giant, and Whole Foods. To do this, I would need working capital of about $15,000 to help pay for inventory. Lastly, I am budgeting about $10,000 for the next 2 years to hire an advertising agency to help me expand my brand and market it to new stores and customers. Thank you for listening, and I will now be taking questions.
First question is around, you'd mentioned it's around your sales. So you'd mentioned that you've done about 55,000 in sales and you're in over 60 stores. I'm curious, amongst those 60 plus stores, what is in common with maybe the stores that are selling the most of your products? So I'm curious, are you seeing a different type of retailer and are you seeing different buckets and different styles of stores?
Yeah, so I'm in a lot of independently owned stores and a lot of ShopRites and Garrity's. It depends on the season, but a lot of times the vodka sauce is doing the most popular, but in the wintertime, the marinara was doing the most. And I also do a lot of sales more in the stores than at the farmers markets, just because I'm in more stores than I am farmers markets.
I'm really curious, and how do you stand out side by side with a product, and what are you doing to communicate the difference between yours and others?
Yes, I do know I have a lot of competitors. I'm trying to keep my prices down. So my competitors are at a $7.99 to $9.99 price point, but I'm going to compete with that by staying at $6.99. I also have a longer cook time, so they're less acidic, and I have sweeter tomatoes. So the children are also liking that and parents are liking that. And then I'm also going to be working on a pull method by doing farmers markets and demos, which will then create demand in the stores. And then I'll be able to sell my products to the stores and place them with my distributor.
Could you talk a bit about the barriers to entry and how you're protecting what it sounds to be some pretty awesome trade secrets, recipes, and process?
Thank you. Yes. I do have a trademark on my logo. On the federal side, I'm working on that. I have a PA trademark right now. The barriers to entry are difficult with the pasta sauce, but a lot of people are really liking my story behind the sauces, so I'm able to get into stores that way. And I'm leveraging the Penn State student part also.
Anything on the recipe side or the process side that makes you unique and differentiable?
The longer cook time is also very differentiable because it's less acidic, so people aren't getting heartburn after eating my sauces. And the sweeter tomatoes, kids are enjoying it, and parents are liking that because then their kids are eating different sauces, especially the vodka sauce children are really liking.
I have a question about your brand positioning. So you talked about your product differentiation, but let's talk now about your brand, the bigger picture. So can you talk to me about your positioning? What does your brand mean to that target consumer? What space are you occupying conceptually in that target consumer's mind? And can actually you start your answer with telling me who your target consumer is?
Yes, so my target consumer are mainly middle-aged people who are looking for a sweeter tomato sauce, like I said, and that one that won't give them heartburn after eating it. So my target market is a broad a broad market, but people tend to see my label on the shelf and go towards it because it catches their eye. I think the white label really helps a lot with the silhouette on it.
It sounds like you are competing against a premium subset, right? Because price point.
Yes.
So how does that affect, your target consumer? What are they looking for besides no heartburn, which I get?
Yes.
What are they looking for in the experience of the sauce?
Yes, and I think a lot of people are really enjoying the story behind it, like female, young, college student, entrepreneur, started this during COVID. Once I tell people that story, they're like, oh yes, I would love to have her sauce in my store. And that's how I've gotten into a lot of stores.
Talk a little bit about the strategy behind getting into some of the major supermarkets, because right now, as you said, you're in a lot of independents, but the battle will really be won or lost at not just the Wegmans, but the Krogers and the Myers and so on. So why don't you talk a little bit about your vision there?
Yeah, so last year I actually found a distributor, and then they started taking pre-orders before my first pallets of sauce came out. So before I even had the sauce, I already had pre-orders with a lot of stores, and that was able to help me branch out into more stores. I also put another order in before I even had the first pallets originally. And that's why I also will need working capital and able to expand to Wegmans and Giant and the bigger retail chains.
Thanks for your participation.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Our final team is Shamba Tech.
Hi, my name is Monam.
My name is Aiden.
And we're both Penn State students and co-founders of Shamba Tech. Shamba Tech is Swahili for farm technology. The goal of our company is to make agricultural equipment accessible for smallholder farmers around sub-Saharan Africa. And we're doing this by using solar energy, which helps mitigate the costs of petrol on agricultural equipment. Hi, my name is Monam.
Hi, my name is Aiden.
And together, we are the founders of Shamba Tech. In researching the continent of Africa in one of our classes here at Penn State, Aiden and I were made aware of an issue. That being that only 6% of the arable land throughout sub-Saharan Africa is currently being irrigated. And when you look at the country of Kenya specifically, that number drops to only 2%. And for reference, my home state of Nebraska actually has 8 times as much irrigated farmland as the entire country of Kenya. And when we're seeing events like drought and inclement weather increasing globally as a result of climate change, farmers in Nebraska are able to rely on this irrigation equipment to get them through these tough periods. But farmers in Kenya and sub-Saharan Africa, oftentimes this means less food on the table, a cycle of poverty, and what we're seeing, also severe malnutrition and oftentimes death. In recognizing this issue, Aiden and I set out to make an impact. And to do so, we're hoping to radically change the productivity of these small-scale farmers throughout sub-Saharan Africa. And what we've identified as the best way to do so is providing access to agricultural equipment through financing options and also through utilizing solar power. Because as anyone who owns a car can attest to, the price of petrol is extremely volatile.
We are traveling to Kenya this May to deploy our first kiosk. A smallholder farmer could come to our kiosk and rent not only a pump, but also piping to allow them to transport the water from the water source to their farm. Allowing our irrigation equipment to be rented allows these low-income smallholder farmers to be able to have access to this agricultural equipment. Understanding that Shamba Tech is not only the bridge from water source to farmer, but also allowing these smallholder farmers to make a living and to provide for their communities and families. With the $30,000 in which InkU could provide us, we could help 48 smallholder farmers, as well as start a small business. Understanding the impact you could have on not only Shamba Tech, but also smallholder farmers in Kenya. Thank you.
What's your intention with this business? How do you see this developing, and what does a full scale or a mature version of this business look like? That is, do you want it to scale a lot, or is it more right-sized to the communities in need? Is it more of like a nonprofit or a lifestyle kind of side thing, or is this something you want to, go at full time in the future? Can you comment on that?
So one thing that Aiden and I really base a lot of the foundation of Champatech off of is a McKinsey study done in 2019. It's called Winning in African Agriculture. And one of the things that study outlines is the untapped potential of the African agricultural market. I think specifically they note that grains and cereals throughout sub-Saharan Africa could be improved by up to 2 to 3 times what they're currently at, and expect a major boom over the course of the next couple decades when it comes to African agriculture. So in terms of the business side of things, there's a lot of potential within the market, and we've identified an area not only where we can make an impact, but also an area that's ripe for growth in a market and to grow a business. But beyond that, in terms of our personal goals, one thing we've explored in recent months is looking into turning it into a franchise where people in local communities could franchise a kiosk to be able to provide for their local community agricultural equipment that previously wasn't local. We're actually traveling to Kenya this May to talk to a lot of these farmers in the first community that we'll be launching our kiosk into, which is Wathonga.
So walk us through from the need part all the way to how you generate profit sufficient to scale the business.
One of the things that Aiden and I really have worked on a lot is how do we generate profit from a community that already isn't making a lot of money. The average Kenyan farmer makes about 255 Kenyan shillings per year. And for reference, that's about 2,500 US dollars. So there isn't a lot of widely, excess capital for a lot of these people. However, what they do have is the resources on their farm and the capability to grow, and we're hoping to be partners in that growth.
So it sounds like instead of the rental of the assets up front, you're renting in advance, but the cash comes to you at the end. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, so it's almost a pay-as-you-go model. A lot of the farmers won't have cash in the middle of a growing season to be able to, put down 100,000 Kenyan shillings into, irrigation equipment. And so what we're hoping to do is finance a lot of these people's growth, because we know using our equipment, by the end of the season, they'll be able to turn a profit more times than not.
Are the farmers that you would be selling to currently irrigating, or are you, is this customer somebody who would be doing this for the first time?
A lot of the farmers within sub-Saharan Africa are aware of irrigation methods. It's just the ones that are smallholder farmers, our target market, usually have less than an acre of land. And the most common irrigation for them is with water buckets. There's also manual treadle pumps that some might use. And in rare cases, smallholder farmers are able to use gas-powered pumps, however, not frequently enough to be able to improve yields to the level that we would like to get them to. So most farmers are aware of irrigation and the benefits to it, but are unable to afford a lot of the options. And for those who aren't aware of a lot of the benefits, we're hoping to help bridge that gap with an attendant at the kiosk able to explain. And then also what we're doing, a demo plot in the region to help kind of pilot a full yield using irrigation to show farmers benefits.
I'm curious what evidence you have that they'll pay for something like this, and how competitive you can be, with your pricing and convincing them to attempt the use and trial this.
We've released a couple studies throughout the Wathonga region and to Kenyan farmers. We're also going to be doing the same when we travel this May. But overwhelmingly, the general consensus is that they are in favor of irrigation and would like to irrigate in order to improve yields, but unable to have access to it most of the time.
Thank you very much. Good luck with this venture, and we hope to see you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The teams have made their pitches. The judges have asked their questions. Now it's time for them to deliberate and decide which teams have done enough to earn the funds to make their idea a reality.
Really like their idea about design, build, test, and they went through 6 prototypes. That's exactly what you want to do for lean startup. You fail fast forward. So I really like that.
One of the things I am a little bit concerned about is they had communicated they wanted to use $10,000 for website and all the rest for manufacturing and tooling. And I didn't hear very much around advertising. I didn't hear very much around who specifically their customer is and how they'll get in front of those customers.
I know during the pandemic, there have been a lot of people who have been doing car camping and a lot in the younger generation. So my impression is that there's an opportunity here for demand, but again, will the market tolerate that price point?
I'm still very unclear on what exactly is making they're doing to make the process easier and cutting the costs that a farmer couldn't do with some of the tools that are already available to them.
As with any, sort of early stage company, I think they need some guidance about whether they really want to go into the business of building unique websites, even though we know there'll be templates, but I think they're better off not being a white label company.
I'm really pleased that they actually executed a pivot and were able to articulate why they did it. And that to me is an entrepreneurial mindset. The ability to figure out something's not right, figure out a direction, go with it, and then test. I was impressed with the polish of the team, both in terms of the skill sets of the team, the knowledge of the industry that they're trying to play in, the fact that they built a two-sided model.
Well, first off, I'm impressed the fact that they built their MVP, they have paying customers. That's really awesome. And I think that especially companies that are now finding their product market fit like this, that have a customer base, can really put money to good use. I would love to see them focus and get those, get through that tipping point and the dominoes of getting all the different companies and schools signing up. Where my biggest concern is, and I think will be one of their main challenges, is around the cost of developing software.
They need to go back and do some more competitive benchmarking, and perhaps this pilot that they're doing with the company, which I applaud them for doing, will guide them.
I was not super happy to see them targeting early stage entrants to this field as their target market. I think those people are disinclined to pay into something. So there's just a lot more to learn with this and test with this one. But I think the biggest thing is probably the market need. Is this truly desirable to this target market, and can they pay? She's going to need some more sophisticated marketing understanding around branding. I used to work in food manufacturing. This is a dogfight, okay? And you need to articulate who your target consumer is. And I think a premium positioning is about experience. And I think she picked on her investment summary are the right channels: Whole Foods, Wegmans, as you mentioned, where you find unique things and you pay a little bit more.
She does have a good vision of her core product, but this company as a company would be so far away from expanding. I go through this with all my food investments. Stick to your core until you've established a real base of customers before you start talking about expanding into different product lines.
It isn't clear to me how they would finance the equipment, all of the infrastructure, and then assume at the back end that there's going to be adequate profit margin.
This is a noble project, right? It's a noble idea. And there is a need to help farmers in the continent of Africa in general. They're going to need a huge amount of capital, and this is not the kind of thing that you can finance on the run.
The judges have deliberated. The decisions are made. Now, the teams will find out who will receive money to fund their company.
So first of all, great job to all the teams. You all have strong ideas and were well prepared for today's competition. The decision of who to provide awards to is always a challenge, and believe me, the judges were very thoughtful today about making a decision. We have decided to award money to 2 teams. The first award will be to Marosa for $15,000. So congratulations, Marcella.
Thank you so much.
The second award will be also for $15,000 to Car to Camp. So congratulations to Car to Camp too.
Thank you.
Great job, everyone, and congratulations to all the teams and certainly to the teams who received awards.
Congratulations to the winning teams. They leave with the money to jumpstart their emerging companies. For the other teams, it's time to reposition for the next pitch. Thank you for joining us for The Investment.
Funding for The Investment provided by Penn State's Smeal College of Business. Learn more at smeal.psu.edu. The Engineering Entrepreneurship Program, part of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation minor, developing the entrepreneurial mindset to benefit students throughout their career, whether starting a company or working within an existing organization. Ben Franklin Technology Partners. Ulicny Financial Communications and Strategy, the Center County Growth and Adventure Partnership, a collaborative initiative of the CBICC and the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau.